Hello, and welcome to the Drive Home Show. It's just me this week, Pete Paguaga, hosting by himself. Our guy, Sean Patrick Bowley, is off this weekend celebrating the big birthday. It's the big 5-0 for your boy SPB. It was earlier this week, so make sure you give him a shout out if you see him or you want to tweet at him, wish him a happy birthday. But he is taking a well deserved weekend off to celebrate his birthday. So you just got me. All right. So it's not going to be maybe not as fun, maybe not as intense of breaking stuff down, but we're going to flip through the schedule. We're going to flip through the schedule. We're going to flip through the scoreboard, see how some of these games went tonight, some details. Leave stuff in the comments that if you want me to talk about or reference some things. Remember, as always, we're going to talk about some things. And if you're going to join the show late, which is fine, maybe rewind to see if we talked about it first. But right off the bat, I was at Fairfield Prep Maloney tonight, number 5 Fairfield Prep in the GametimeCT poll against Maloney. Maloney coming in, they were 4-0. We didn't know a lot about Maloney heading into this season. And they've come out really strong 4-0. So it was a really good test for them. It was their first big test of the year. And what a defensive battle this game was. Fairfield Prep won the game 24-6. But Maloney's defense played really well, really well in the game. Fairfield Prep scored, made a couple of great, plays. They had a great one-handed interception by Tavares Newkirk. Check it out on our Instagram account. It was one of the best plays that I've seen all season so far. That turned to a short touchdown run. Maloney muffed the punt. Prep jumped on it, cashed it in for another touchdown, and they hit a long 62-yard touchdown to Jeremiah Langston, who made an unbelievable play, but the defender for Maloney couldn't have played any better defense unless he tackled Langston. So that was Maloney played really well in the game despite the score being 24-6. Maloney scored on the final play of the game with no time left. That was their only score. On the flip side, Fairfield Prep's defense played phenomenal. I mean, they were all over the place. Newkirk was a monster tonight for Prep. So let me find some names. Jordan Lewis was all over the place. Samuel Skaheen. I'm totally mispronouncing that wrong. If the Fairfield Prep coaches are listening like they said they were, they're probably laughing. But they were all over the place. Scott Callahan played well. Robbie Manning played well. Really good win for Prep. I know they're banged up. So they have the bye week coming up. So they're going to be, getting healthy into the second half of the season, which won't be, it's not a walk in the park for them in the second half of the season. A lot of schools were on bye this week. A lot of schools were on bye last week. More were on byes this week. So we had kind of a thinner schedule this week. So we're going to kind of run through this pretty quickly. Again, leave any comments. Make sure you like, subscribe, review, kind of all the fun stuff that we ask you guys to do to support us so we can continue bringing you this stuff each and every week. Obviously, Fairfield Prep won 24-6. I'm going to jump back to Thursday night. There was one game on Thursday night that I really wanted to shout out. My boys over at Bassick beat the VG Titans, which is the Vinyl Tech Goodwin Tech, I believe. Vinyl Tech Goodwin Tech co-op, the VG Titans, 22-8. It was Bassick's second win of the season. It is the first time they've won 2 or more games in a season since 2016. So shout out to Coach Desmond Lyman, friend of the program, and the Lions for getting their second win of the season. I see that comment from Thomas. What happened with Maloney's offense? I'll tell you what happened with Maloney's offense. They ran into Fairfield Prep's defense, and Fairfield Prep's defense is really good. They've been good and very good over the last couple of years. This is a top unit in the state, and they made life hell for Maloney's offense. They were in the backfield all day, a lot of sacks, a lot of plays for a loss. They just caused chaos, and they played so well. So that's what happened to Maloney's offense today. Look, this was the first big game on Maloney's schedule. They kind of had a little bit of an easier road getting going, which was perfect. They had a really hard schedule last year, a lot of new faces, kind of an easier schedule to get the season going. They're still 4-1. I still think we're going to see Maloney at the end of the year in the playoffs. So they do have a big game with New Britain coming up in a couple of weeks. I believe Maloney's on bye as well. We're going to take a look at week 7 really quick towards the end of the show. So I started Thursday. Bassick, 2 wins for the first time in a long time. Good for the Lions. All right, let's rip through the schedule quickly. This one was really interesting. Middletown 8, Bristol Eastern 6. Middletown is now 5-0. So it's a good start in the Daryl Highsmith era, but they were trailing for, I believe in the first half, it was 6-0. Bristol Eastern hasn't won a game this year, but Middletown comes out with the win 8-6 to stay unbeaten at the midway point, which was really good. Weathersfield beats E.O. Smith 39-7. This was another shocker. All of us in the picks, including the 8-ball, took Tolland over Avon. Avon hadn't won a game all year. What would you think? Avon 29, Tolland 12. So everyone gets that wrong in the picks, but shout out to the Avon Falcons, not the Tolland Falcons. I'm sorry, Tolland's the Eagles? Yeah, Tolland's the Eagles. But shout out to the Falcons of Avon for getting the win. This was another wild one. I want to pull up if our game story is on the website yet, because I want to give you guys some stats if we have them. And of course, well, none of our stories are up on the site yet, which is fine. Make sure you go back and read GametimeCT to get some of the scores. No, here they are. But that game is not up yet. Bloomfield 54, Plainville 41, a high-scoring affair in the CCC. This one was wild. We had video highlights. We were at the game. Our guy Ron Buck was there. Cameron White threw for 3 touchdowns. Bloomfield is 3-2 on the season. They had a kickoff return to start the game. Just a high-scoring CCC affair for Bloomfield. That's a huge win for them. Good for Plainville, too. We've talked about Plainville a lot this year. They've really, gotten better every year. And this was their shot to go after a Bloomfield team that might not be as good as they've been in past years. But Bloomfield pulls it out in a game that saw 95 points scored. Probably why the story's not up yet. Ron Buck is still probably trying to put together the box score, because a box score with that many points takes a really long time. Another interesting one at the CCC tonight was Northwest Catholic Rocky Hill. Northwest Catholic won 14-7. I believe we were at that game as well. I think our guy Jim Fuller was there, and it was not East Catholic. It was, oh my God. It was Rocky Hill. Rocky Hill was up 7-0 after the first quarter, but our guy, Caden Davis, 22-yard touchdown on the final play of the first half. He's done this before. He did this against Joel Barlow, had a long touchdown right before the half, but he scored a 22-yard touchdown on the final play of the first half. Northwest Catholic went up 14-7, and they held on to win 14-7. Northwest Catholic remains unbeaten as well. Little bit of an interesting game, though, for them. I thought they would really kind of put it to Rocky Hill, but really good job by the Terriers defense to kind of lock down. That tandem up at Northwest Catholic is really good. Caden Davis is an unbelievable football player. He's an unbelievable wide receiver. Definitely a player to go watch for sure. If anyone's got East Catholic, Lewis Mills, please let us know, because it's not up on the CIAC. East Lyme into the ECC. East Lyme beat New London 45-14. Woodstock Academy beat Wyndham 36-14. Last year, those scores wouldn't have happened, as both New London and Wyndham went to the playoffs, but both of them are in rebuilding years. Griswold Wheeler 37, Bacon Academy Lyman Hall 10. Griswold Wheeler is off to a really good start. Really interesting, really fun team. Keep an eye out on the Wolverines. All right. Also in the ECC, Stonington 49, Montville 8. Again, someone asked, was the FCAC on buys this week? Yes, a lot of the FCAC was on buys. A lot of the SCC was on buys. Actually, all the FCAC was on buys. There's one SCC game that we'll get to on Saturday. All right, couple of Alliance games tonight. Brookfield 54, 4-7. We're still waiting to see some stuff from Brookfield. The one game that should have been a really good game was them against Hand, and it was all Hand in that game. So people have kind of forgotten about Brookfield. They're still very talented and still a very good team. We just need to see them. I know they got some big games coming up. I think they have Newtown in a couple of weeks. I could be wrong, or maybe Massac, or they play Massac, Newtown, Bunnell. They play 2 of the 3 of them. I don't have the schedule right in front of me. I talked about the Fairfield Prep Maloney game, 24-6. Another big one, Guilford. A lot of us liked Platt in this game. Guilford comes away with the 34-20 win. Our guy Brian Carpenter was in attendance at Falcon Field. It looks like this game was close at one point. I believe it was 27-20 with 11 minutes left. But the Cardiac Panthers couldn't pull off another comeback. Alex Tafaro scored with 5 yards out with 6:48 left to fortify the lead. That's Bryant's words, not mine. And Shane Connolly had an interception to kind of put the final touches on the game. Huge win for Guilford. I believe Guilford is 5-1 now, which is awesome to see. They graduated so many guys from last year's. They had good teams the last couple of years. Caden Hilliard, who was an unbelievable running back, and you always were kind of expecting them to win a lot of games, get over the hump, get into the playoffs. They got close one year. Points didn't fall their way. They didn't get in. Now here they are with a lot of new faces across the field, and they're sitting here at 5-1. And that win against a really good Platt team is a really good feather in their cap this year as they head towards the second half of the year. Another big game all the way up in the ECC. Our guy Dave Stewart was actually in attendance. He drove all the way up. For all of those who say that we have an FCX bias and we only care about the FCX schools, Dave Stewart drove all the way up to Killingly tonight to see Killingly and Massac, and boy, did he get to see a show. Killingly 42, Massac 7. Killingly did everything tonight. A block punt turned into a short touchdown run by Hayden Allard. Then Hayden Allard, pick six, 14-0. Another touchdown run by Hayden Allard, 21-0. A bad snap put Killingly behind, but they eventually scored on a fourth down. Hunter Allard catches a touchdown, throws a touchdown pass. He's a wide receiver. Hunter Allard then caught a touchdown pass. It was all Killingly tonight. Hayden Allard added another touchdown, 42-7. That Killingly team, I know we have a lot of conversations about Killingly. How good are they? Where should they be ranked in the poll? We talk about it every week. They're currently number 3 in the poll. I don't have them that high, but this is a really good win for them against an SWC team in Massac. Is it Massac's best team in the last couple of years? No, but I think this Killingly team is really good. And I think that, I think if they were playing in L this year, I don't know if they would win L, but I think they would compete in L more than they did a couple of years ago when they actually were in Class L. But this is a very small school, but they are talented. Both Allards, Hayden Hunter. There's a story on our website that Ned Griffin wrote. Go check it out. It's a really cool story. The quarterback, Quinn Sumner, is really good. They got a lot of guys all over the field, but Killingly is legit. Someone asked, how legit is Killingly? Killingly is legit. I don't know if they would compete with the double L schools in the state. I don't know how much they would compete with the New Canaans of the world, but they are a top team in this state, and it's going to be really fun depending on how the playoffs shake out with them in hand, hopefully meeting in the double S finals. Who's going to win, Maloney or New Britain? You're going to have to wait till the picks come out that week. I don't like to tip my hand, but that game will 100% be on the pick'em board that week. But I will say New Britain looks really good. New Britain played Fairfield Prep. That's a common denominator between Prep and New Britain. And I think it was 28-24 New Britain, 28-24 Fairfield Prep winning that game. But again, it's a couple of weeks from now. Teams have buys, things change, injuries, all that kind of stuff. So, it's a good thing to use, but it's not the end-all, be-all. But I think the New Britain Maloney game is going to be really good. I believe that's in a couple of Thursdays. We'll take a look after I get through the schedule. The Nonawag Co-op, formerly known as Northwest United, took it to Platt 61-34. Nonawag, not in a conference. They're independent, so all their games are alliance games. But that was another high-scoring game. Was that another 95-point game? Wild night. Prince Tech beat Amistad 46-2. Guess there was a safety thrown in there. The Valley Panthers beat Wilbur Cross 24-12. In the Pequot, there was one Pequot game this week on Friday. There's one tomorrow. The Maloney Prep score. Go on read the story on our website. Come on, we work hard. We go to the games. Go to our Instagram. Look at the video. But the final was 24-6. Prep over Maloney, just looking at the comments. Back to the Pequot. Valley Regional beat Coggins 21-0. In the SWC, New Fairfield beat Stratford 21-19. Good. I mean, New Fairfield's a good team. We've talked about them a lot this year. They had a really good start. Didn't really play well against Notre Dame Prep. And, Stratford, kind of an easy schedule to start. Very intrigued, but that's a nice, not that losses are nice. That was a nice loss for Stratford. They're definitely heading in the right direction. Another game in the SWC, Weston beat Notre Dame Prep 38-35. We got a lot of messages on Instagram about how we said Weston wasn't going to have a shot against Notre Dame Prep. We never said that. I don't even think we talked about that game, but what a game by Weston. Good for the Trojans. Nice when they kind of are in the mix. When they won the state title back in 2019, that was a lot of fun. But that's a really good win for Weston. Notre Dame Prep got to regroup, circle back, and try to figure out how to get better from there. We have nothing from New Milford Bethel, so if anyone has a score, please shout out. In the final game in the SWC, we had our boy Will Aldham in the house at, I believe this game was at Blue and Gold Stadium in Newtown. Yes, it was. Newtown won 24-0 over Bunnell. That is a huge win for Newtown. They had a really hard schedule to start the year. They started the year 2-2. They got to 3-2 last week. They played New Canaan. They played Windsor to start the year. That's not an easy schedule. And they take it to Bunnell, who's been getting a lot of love from me in terms of the poll and on the podcast. And, maybe we kind of forgot about Newtown a little bit, but they're going to remind us who they are. And Newtown is kind of back. They're at 4-2. Great win for them over Bunnell. The Newtown defense, get this stat, 7 takeaways. They had 6 interceptions. 6, and they had a strip sack. So 7 turnovers by the Newtown defense gets them going. Let's look at Will's tweets. Let's see any information here. Touchdown catch, Grady Marks. Luke Stewart with another touchdown catch. Emmett Reagan had a touchdown catch. So 3 different guys catching touchdowns, and they hit a field goal by Jacob Rosman, 35 yards. So 3 different touchdown catches. Who's the quarterback? What's his name? There it is. Marcus Geraci threw for 3 touchdowns in the game. Newtown, don't forget about us. We aren't, but maybe the rest of the state kind of forgot about you guys. But they're back in the driver's seat of the SWC. Again, if you have a New Milford and Bethel score, please reach out. If you have an East Catholic Lewis Mills score, please leave it in the comments. The update. No, nothing has come through. Tomorrow, there's 5 games on the docket. Berlin at Ram. Berlin's off to a great start this year. They have Newington next week or the week after, so that's a big game to circle. But Berlin Ram on Saturday. Fitch at NFA is also tomorrow. That's at 1 o'clock. In the Pequot, Ellington is undefeated. They're going to play Crack at 11 o'clock. Ellington is 5-0. Aaron Latter, our guy, is having an awesome season for the Purple Knights. Pequot's kind of still open, up for grabs. Ellington and Rockville do play. They're both undefeated, so that's definitely going to be an interesting game later in the year. You got Joel Barlow and Pomperac at 6 o'clock on Saturday, tomorrow night. And obviously one that's really interesting, you got Daniel Hand, going on the road to play Xavier at 1 o'clock. I believe it's Xavier's homecoming. Hand coming off the loss against Daniel Hand coming off the loss against Cheshire last week. Hopefully trying to get back into the win column. Like I said, it was a short schedule. I'm going to take a sip of water here, and then we're going to take a look at next week's schedule. All right, everyone's back next week. Couple of teams are on byes. Big Friday slate, big Saturday slate. Saturday, let's see next week games that stand out. Glastonbury, New Britain's really interesting. Glastonbury kind of fallen off a little bit, had some kind of head-scratching losses. New Britain's awesome. So we'll see, can Glastonbury kind of have a statement win, or can New Britain continue to roll? Let's see, a couple other games that stand out. Fitch at Killingly, that one's always fun. Killingly doesn't really get challenged a lot in the ECC. Fitch is usually that team in the ECC that's, fighting for a playoff spot every year. So that one should be interesting. That's Thursday. Friday, Let's see, Berlin at Newington. I mentioned that. I guess that is next week. I got my wires crossed, so that's next week. Berlin at Newington. That should be a really good game for kind of smaller schools in the CCC. Northwest Catholic. Bloomfield is really interesting. That high-flying Northwest Catholic offense, which got kind of contained tonight, but they still won. They're going into Bloomfield. Bloomfield is the king of that smaller division in the CCC. They do have 2 losses. Is this a year for people to get them? We thought maybe Plainville can knock them off. Plainville couldn't, but Plainville did score 41 points on them. So I'm really interested to see how Northwest Catholic plays against Bloomfield. Simsbury and Platt's interesting. Simsbury is a much bigger school than Platt, so that's an interesting crossover game, but I think they're actually in the same tier now because Platt, for some reason, is in Tier 1 when some other schools that are really successful in the CCC don't get moved up, so I don't really know. All right, let's see what else. Ledyard Wyndham, that game would have been really fun last year. That's still an interesting one. FCAC is back, returns from their bye. Staples Ward. Staples coming off their loss against Wilton. Ward's having a really good season. I don't know how that one's going to go. Wilton, Stanford, Bridgeport, Ridgefield. Danbury McMahon's really interesting. I like Danbury a lot this season. They've been playing really well. They just got to get a couple more wins. Ludlow Trumbull's really interesting. Ludlow is really good, and they win a lot of games, but they can beat Trumbull. We just need to see Ludlow kind of maybe knock off one of those powers in the FCAC. Not saying that is Trumbull, but that's a game. This is a game Ludlow should win, but we need to see Ludlow beat some of those other teams to really get behind the hype train of Fairfield Ludlow. Obviously, the big one next week, unless something crazy happens in the poll, which I can't see happening. Greenwich at New Canaan, number 1 versus number 2, Friday night at New Canaan. That is a must attend for anyone who's a football fan. That place is going to be rocking. It's going to be awesome. Let's see. Into the NVL, Ansonia Woodland is going to be a really good game. Woodland is the best team in the NVL so far this year. I think that, they've just been awesome. Brunetti's great. The Pringle brothers are great. Coach Joe Lato is doing such a good job there. Ansonia, 2 losses already this year. It's just a year Woodland can knock off Ansonia. They've beaten them before. I just, don't know the answer off the top of my head, but Woodland is definitely at the top of the NVL this year. So that one's definitely really interesting. Let's see, a couple other games. Valley Regional, Cromwell, Portland. Valley Regional is an amazing program in the Pequot. Cromwell, Portland, another unbeaten team this year under Sal Morello. They're just humming right now, and they're playing really well. Let's see. In the SEC, anything stand out? North Haven Sheehan's interesting. Shelton Hand is interesting just on name recognition alone. That's just a fun game. West Haven Cheshire, that one's very exciting. Cheshire coming off the win over Hand last week, have the bye going to West Haven. West Haven's a really talented team, really good team with losses to Fairfield Prep and to Staples. Those are not bad losses, so let's see what Cheshire can do. Brookfield Newtown highlights the SWC schedule next week. Brookfield needs a big win. They need a big win to remind people how good they are. This is a team that went to the state finals last year, was undefeated going into the state finals last year, graduated some pieces, but also brought back some really good players. And, we need to see that win from them. We need to see that win to get excited about Brookfield again. They have Newtown next Friday at 7:00. And then next Saturday, Darien at St. Joe's, just always of interest. Those beautiful Saturday matinee games at St. Joseph are always really fun to go to. Let's see if the CIAC has updated those scores yet. Nothing from East Catholic and nothing from Bethel, though we did get a message in the chat saying Bethel was up 34-18 on New Milford in the 4th, but can't find a final score. Let's do last-ditch effort. Max Preps is always pretty good to have some of this information. Nope, we don't have that. And we just check Lewis Mills Max Preps. And if not, then we'll just move forward. Lewis Mills. Nope, that score is not in yet. Let me check our emails. Let's see. Did we get anything? Probably not. Oh, no, I can't get in. I need to put a code. I'm just literally going through. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. How's everyone else's night going? We enjoying listening to the show? We wrapping up our Fridays, heading into our weekends? Anyone got to mow the lawn tomorrow? Let's see. Did we get any scores? No, nothing in here. Sorry, team. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap up because I've been talking straight for 25 minutes. This is not as fun as when it's with Sean. We get to like kind of bounce off each other because it's just me talking for 25 straight minutes. I appreciate everyone for following along as always. Let me just see. Nope, that message is not for me. All right. Well, it's for Pete and not Sean this week. So everyone go wish Sean a happy birthday. The big 5-0. A well-deserved week off for him, but I did miss him on this show. It was just me talking. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Yes, go Bassick Lions. Someone just commented that. We talked about him at the beginning of the show. 2 wins for the first time since 2016. That's awesome. Bye, guys. You guys are the best. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. We'll see you guys Monday night for the meat grinder. All right. Love you all.